Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome to yet another episode on Little's Law YouTube channel. Today, in this video, we are going to see about another interesting variable, which is the date. But before that, we have see about the counter, list, file, random integer, random string, constant string, and password in our previous videos. If you have not watched it, please do check the description for the link. So before we move on to the video, I once again welcome you all to Little Slaw YouTube channel. And if you have not subscribed yet, please do subscribe, like, share, and comment your questions and feedbacks in the comment section. So with no further delay, let's go to the video. So today we are going to see about the date variable. So the date variable comes as a parameter in most of the applications where we use the date in different formats as a parameter. And here with this date, let's see what are the date patterns we have and what can be the starting date that we give for the application, and what are all the ways we can increment the values or the date or the hour or whatever the options that are given for the date. And on top of it, again, we have this value change policy, which changes for each request, each page, each iteration, and for each virtual user instance. And also we have this variable values distribution policy. So let's see from the beginning. So let's give a name for this date. So let's give it as Little's Law underscore date. Let's save it. So the next thing is, so we have various date patterns. So let's start with the basic pattern. So here we have the date in a DD format, the month in MM format, and the year in YY format with hour, the minutes and the seconds. And this is going to be the actual format. So here the date is given as 12/6, and in case if we want to change the date, again we have the option to choose. Say for example, if I want to start the date from the next week, I can choose it, and even I can change the time as well. So this can be the starting date and this will be the starting date. And again we have this incremental value, so we can increment as 1 second or 1 millisecond, or 1 minute to 1 hour to 1 day, 1 month, 1 year, and then we have the value change policy. So let's first start validating our first Little's Law date, and let's see how does it work. So we will increment with 1 second as the starting time, and let's have the iteration for 3 times, and let's do the validation. So the validation have completed, and let's see the variables. So before that we have not substituted it. Okay, so let's substitute it. So we have the Little's Law date variable, and let's execute the same execution again. So the execution has completed, and here we can see that the first variable is at the 47th second, the second variable is at 48th second, and the third variable is at 49th second. So this is how the value gets changed. So let's see one more example with a day, and let's see what happens. And here we can see the first day is on 19th, the second day is on 20, and then the 21st. So this is how the increment works, and let's now change it to 7 month. Let's, for example, let's give it for 3 and 3 months. So let's see how does this work. So the execution has completed, and here we can see the first month, which is the 19th of June, and then 19th of September and 19th of December. So that's how the increment has happened. So this is the normal one. So we any value that we change starting from the milliseconds to seconds to minutes, hour, day, month, and year. So let's now try with few other formats. So here we have the date, month, year, and we have this S extra added to this. So let's try with one of its example. So for example, this can be the start time, and let's change the year to 2, and we'll have an example. We have an execution and see how does this format work and what is the end value of this execution. So here we can see that the year has changed. No other value has been incremented. So this means that we can change only one value. It can be either the second, or it can either be the minute, or it can either be the hour, or it can either be the year or month or date. You cannot make change for more values. So the increment happens for just one value, and with that we have to decide it. So the next thing is like we will check for the other formats. So we have this format which is KKMM and seconds, and then we have different other formats. Even example, we have this AM, which is the AM or PM, and then we have this Z, which shows the IST time as well. So say for example, if I want to try with the EST as the input parameter, so even I can try that one. And let me try with the date, because most probably we have this day as the option. And again, here we could see that the month has come in a format. Okay, so the month has come in a format of 4 letters, and the day here with the year. So we can try with every different format. So let me change to the month, and let's see how does the month come. So here we can see this comes with four values. The length of the month is 4. So let's run it and see in what format does it come. So here we can see that when we enter 4 character length, so here we can see the full month has been incremented, which is June, July, August. So say for example, if we are making a small change of just 3 characters, and let's see what happens when we make this change. So here we can see that when we change the parameter character length from 4 to 3, automatically the values change from June to just JUN with its 3 characters. So this is how we can format, or we can make changes to the format, and we can use it in the script. And let's try few more options in here. And then we have this MDYY with just very simple format, and this is how it comes. So the month, the date, and the year. And then we have various other formats as well. So even we can give our own format. Say for example, if you want to give it in a format that is happening in USA, something like MM/DD/YYYY. So let's try whether what could be the format, or what can be the options for this. And if you want to try that, you can just click on this and change it. So let's say for example it is has to be 06 and the month and the date is 12 and it's 2022. So let's check it. How does it work? So here we can see that we have got the month incremented once, and there is one important thing which we have to remember, which is if we make change to m as small m, and let's see what happens when it comes to small m. So here we can see when it comes to small m, so the value gets failed or the value don't change. So here we can see that the value has not changed and it stays in the same value because the month is given as small m. So let's change it to m, which is capital M, and let me run 3 iterations and I will show you what happens when we change the month from small m to capital M. And now here we can see the value has changed, and that is because of the format. So this has to be the format. The month has to be in the capital letter. So let's make a change with the date. So I'm giving it as capital D, and let's run and see how does it works, whether the date is getting accepted as capital D or small d or the small letter D. So here we can see the value was getting totally randomized with the capital D, and that's why we have to use small d, small letter D, and then we will try the year with four four letters, or the character can be four, but it we are giving it in capital, and let's see how does it work. So here we can see that the value has changed from 12. Let's check this. Okay, so 12, 1 and 2. So let's make a change for every year so that we can find whether this capital Y works, because the change was made to month. But let's see whether this capital M or the capital Y works, or whether that does get incremented. So here we can see that the value has got incremented, but not in a proper manner, because the first two values are 22 and then the last value was 23. So let's try this way. So let's keep it every value a small y, and let's run the execution again, and let's see how does it execute, or what value does we get do we get. So with capital Y we get 2022, 2022 and 2023. So with small y as all the characters, let's see how does it work since we are incrementing it each year. So here we can see with the proper variable declaration with the proper case sensitive. So here we can see it started from 2021 and then 2022 and 2023. So the ideal and the pattern which works is a month has to be capital, which is M. So the month has to be capital and the date has to be in a small letter and the year again has to be in a small letter. So that is the ideal scenario where the date format will work. Again, here we can see that the R can be both capital and in the small, but the minute is, or the minute has to be small letter, and then we have the second, so that comes as a small letter. And even we can have only the hour and the minute and the second as a time format, and we can try that. So here we have, let's change the time to 1, 2 and 3. So this is going to be the format, and let's change it to every minute. So here we can see we have hour, minute and second. And let's see how does this format work. So here we can see that the value has incremented for each minute. So as we saw, so this is the format, which is we have every hour, minute and second. So in this way we can increment the time. So we have seen today about the date parameter. So let's do a quick recap. So we have added a date parameter, and we have tried with all these previously set values. So we have date, month, year, hour, minute, second, and even the time zone along with AM and PM values. And one important thing which we have noted down here is the date has to be in the small d format, and the month has to be in the capital MM, and even we can have it as 3 character length up to 4. And then we have the YY format, which is the year, and that has to be in the small character. So just remember once again, so the month has to be in capital, and the all other values, which is the date and the year, has to be in small characters. And then we have this hour, minute and second. So same way we can have the hour in both capital and small letter, but the minute and second has to be in small letters. So with that we come to an end, and before that, before we come to an end, let's see what is the maximum length of the incremental value that we can give here. So it is, so this is the maximum length of the value that we can give as the incremental value. So with that we come to an end. We will meet in another interesting video in our next session. Until then, it's bye bye from Vasan Shanmugam and Little's Law.